Welcome to the Forward Marketing Podcast, the podcast that covers internet marketing strategies and leadership tactics to move your business forward. With your host, Joshua Jarvis. Hey, and welcome back to the Forward Marketing Podcast. I am your host, Joshua Jarvis, and I am pretty pumped today because today marks episode number 50. And if you're counting episode 0 as a 1, I guess today would be the 51st episode. But in case, 50 episodes on our way to a full year of every single week having a podcast episode for you. Pretty excited about that. That's a milestone for us. And so every single one of these episodes, we've not had a single form of advertising. I've not tried to do anything shady as far as affiliate clicks, affiliate links, or anything like that. And what I'm going to ask you to do is that if you've listened to more than 2 episodes and you've enjoyed them, is that you would head over to iTunes and drop me a review, or that you would share it with a friend. Surely, if you're in a networking meeting or something like that, you can, especially the people that are from LinkedIn that are listening, that follow me, you guys can go and share this on LinkedIn. I would be eternally grateful to you for that. And if you have any special requests or anything like that, you can always hit me up at joshua@forwardmarketing.com. That's Joshua at the number 4 rdmarketing.com. That's forward, because we move your business forward. And hopefully you listened last week as we covered YouTube. One of the most requested topics that we ever cover is Facebook and YouTube come up quite a bit. And so we actually covered Facebook and YouTube in the past 2 weeks for you. So check those out. Always happy to answer your questions. Always happy to sort of give you some ideas on strategy. And today is no different. We have been talking about, for literally the past year, all these different ways to maximize your content. We covered SEO in depth, and I was actually thinking about doing a best of sort of podcasts. And a lot of the SEO ones were sort of on my list to sort of take from. A side note here, just as this is free for you if this adds any value, I don't know. I used to listen to podcasts, and when they did a best of, I was like, oh man, you guys are just taking the lazy road on this thing. You're not actually creating new content, and so I'm giving you a thumbs down for the best of. I used to really just get annoyed when I heard best ofs. Trying to put one together is a lot of work. And so my mind I'm completely changed. I owe everyone that I ever scoffed at an apology. Yes, best ofs are a lot of work because you got to cut up all the content and put it together. So maybe you don't have to get on the microphone, but you do have to get into the editing room, I guess. So today, we've got 11 essential places to share content. So like I said, we've been talking for the past year about how to create content, how to blog, how to post on Facebook, how to post on Instagram, the kind of things that you need to do, maybe coming up with that sort of value from the inside to create a lens on what you would create content for. So whatever's really important to you, and then sort of speaking to that in all of your content. And so some places that I'm going to mention 11 places. Some of these you are very familiar with, and some of these are going to be a surprise. And the first one might come as a surprise to some of you, especially the ones that aren't sort of just enamored with everything internet, everything technology. And so one of the first places that you can post your content is on a website called Medium. Like small, medium, large. So medium.com is a place that you can post your content. And what's interesting is that, normally there was a thought, you don't want to have duplicate content out there. But Medium lets you actually sort of copy and paste from your WordPress blog and put it into there. And so one of the strategies to this is that you would post a snippet of what you post on your current blog, and then do a read more. So maybe half the blog post or a part of the blog post would be there, and then catch the full blog post at your website. And you could do that. I should be doing that with every single podcast. And, shame on me for not doing that. But Medium is definitely one of those places that you can add to your tool belt where you can share content. Now, as far as the SEO value from a link from Medium, it's kind of suspect. It's not going to hurt you. Certainly, it can only help you. But it's not going to cause you to jump from page 25 on Google results for a keyword to page 1. It's just not going to help you that way. But what you'll find is that if you're consistent on Medium, you'll actually get a steady stream of traffic that way. And like I said, it's another place for you to get a link. It's another place for you to network, find some people. I posted something on Medium one time and connected with a CEO CEO of a company that just really liked what I wrote, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. So anyway, Medium is number one. That's a place for you to post some content. The second place is Reddit. Now, if you are sort of in your 30s or younger, you're very familiar with Reddit. If you're kind of approaching 40 and over, you've heard of Reddit and frowned. Yes, Reddit can be a place where there's a lot of it seems like the troll to people ratio is very high on Reddit. And so, yes, people may go and troll your content, but what I love about Reddit is that, especially as it seems to be gaining more and more popularity, is that it's a place where, imagine the groups on Facebook, and so people are leaving Facebook. Well, Reddit could be a natural home for a lot of those people because you can go on Reddit and comment. So it's like the old school forums in my mind. It's really sort of a recycled version of that. But the content can go very deep. There's a podcast one, what I've tried to post there. But there's ones for real estate. There's one for finances. There's one for Star Wars fans. There's ones for Star Trek fans. There's ones for fans of a particular character in an episode. There's literally Reddits for every single thing that you can think of, or subreddits, if you will. There's one for there's several for SEO. There's several for marketing. There's several for digital marketing. And so it's a great place to post your content. It's a great place to network. It's a great place for you to interact with other people and get some feedback on it. Maybe you write a blog post. Maybe you're a financial planner and you wrote a blog post about how to save money. You could post it on Reddit and say, hey, I want some feedback. Again, you're going to get some trolls that will comment on it telling you your idea is stupid or something like that. But at the same time, you'll probably get some genuine readers. And that's what's happened to me is I've gotten you're just a spammer, you're a loser. And I've also gotten the wow, it's brave of you to post this out there, brave of you to tell your story, brave of this, good job on that, maybe do a little bit of that. So it's just great. So your first one's Medium. I definitely think that is something that you can take home and do. The second one is Reddit. It's going to take some guts to go on there, but definitely think finding something on there. Now, one caveat. Some people know that I am kind of spiritual and that I try to be a good person. I do. I really do. I love Jesus, and I don't have a problem telling you that. And so Reddit is definitely a place that is dangerous because you can go into the adult section pretty easily. And so that's my warning. You can call me name, goody two shoes or something for that, but I just want to put it out there. If you're listening to this podcast and you're a person of faith, Reddit is definitely a dangerous spot for you to be in without some sort of accountability on that. So just be aware of that. LinkedIn is the next one. So LinkedIn is the next place you can post content, and you should be. Like, I don't do it enough. I really think Gary Vaynerchuk is one of those people that I've been following, and sometimes I think he's all hype. But what's really cool is he's showing us, if you follow him, he shows you kind of the example of what you should be doing. So he's been posting a lot of videos on Instagram. He's been posting on LinkedIn. I don't see him quite as much on Facebook, but he does post on Facebook. But LinkedIn is a great place, especially for professionals to post their blogs and stuff. And so you just use the same strategy that you did that I mentioned in Medium, is you take a portion of your blog post or a portion of your content, and then you post it on LinkedIn and say, hey, just read the rest of the article over here if you really liked it. Or you could do some highlights and kind of tease the blog post. Like I could do, hey, the 11 places to share your content, and talk about, hey, we're going to talk about these 11 places you're never going to believe, but one of them is LinkedIn, and here's why, or here the strategy. You'll have to click on the link to find the strategy. Anyway, you get the idea. You can kind of tease it. And what I like about Medium and LinkedIn in particular is you can create one piece of content, and then you can just sort of copy and paste it to the other two. Now, you don't want to copy and paste the entire thing because then no one has a reason to come to the website. But you could copy and paste, sort of a snippet of your content and put it there. So with Medium and LinkedIn in particular, you can copy and paste and reuse your content, and you haven't really spent a lot of time having to do that. The next place is email. Yes, use email. So, and a pro tip, if you're going to use email, the text version actually gets read more than the HTML version. So, same sort of idea here is that if you're not emailing your customer base, if you're not emailing your people on a weekly basis, for instance, or a monthly basis, on a consistent basis, I guess is the right way to say it, then you could take that same snippet of content that you might have used for Medium and LinkedIn, and you can actually put it in email. And the same sort of thing goes for it. You can tease the content and link it. So many of you that listen to this podcast actually are on my email list. And so I do this every week. I kind of give you an idea of what's in the podcast with a link to the show notes, as well as a link to iTunes in case you want to listen to it there. And so that is the way to do it. I know there's some people who do it better than I do it, but at the end of the day, consistent communication is the key to success in your business, and so that's why email is on this list. Now, the next place is one that I've seen very mixed results, but definitely think you need to add it to your list of places that you share content, and that's Twitter. And Twitter has not been effective for me at all on the East Coast when it comes to real estate. But however, I've seen it effective for digital marketing content, for not financial planning content, for just sharing content. And in the world of SEO right now, social media signals are kind of big. So sharing content on Twitter, for instance, is worth doing if for no other reason than that. And you can do a lot of cool things with Twitter especially if you're not like a big user, if you don't like to comment on things, if you don't actually use it. Simply just doing there's something called if this then that. It's IFTT, I think, .com. And you can, set it up so that every time you post a WordPress post, so if let's say you have a WordPress site and you write a blog post, that it would tweet it out. So you can do that. Or you can just, every time you post something, then you click the little bird icon and tweet it out. That is a way to share your content on Twitter. It's not going to be super effective if you're not actually using it and engaging the community. But some use of it is still better than no use. And again, trying to give you some ideas on how to create content and share it and get those signals that you need that Google wants to see, and at the same time not create a lot of additional work for yourself. So you write one piece of content, you share it to Medium, Reddit, LinkedIn, send an email, and then on Twitter. What's the next place? Well, of course, the next place is Facebook. So, it's kind of a no surprise here that I've mentioned Twitter and Facebook, but even though Facebook, I think, is dying, it is still very relevant to share it there. And if you listen to our 2 podcasts ago, the Facebook episode, really went in depth on how to share some content on there. And the same thing goes that you could do in your email and with all the other things, is you just can create a snippet. In fact, when we release the podcast, there's a snippet that I create, like a sort of a blurb of what the podcast is about, and that goes in the email, that goes on Facebook, it goes on LinkedIn, and so like I said, on Facebook, so it's being used again, and so with Facebook, the next place to share it is Facebook groups. Okay, so warning or notice alert here. I am not talking about spamming a group. I'm not talking about going to a group, joining the group, and then spamming them and telling them, hey, check out my content, hey, buy my product. Okay. What I'm talking about is there's really 2 types of groups that I would recommend. One is your peers, people that are competitors of yours, or maybe people that are in the association with yours. And that's some of the best networking comes from people who do the same things you do. You just have to have that abundance mindset and come and bring value. There's nothing more disappointing than when I was in real estate, I would come into a networking group, into a meeting with a bunch of other real estate agents, and I'd say, hey, what's working for you right now? And they would be so dodgy with the questions. Like, it would never give me any specifics. And it just told me that, really they didn't have confidence in themselves. They were worried about the business and all that kind of stuff. And really, like I said, there is plenty of business to go around, so there's really no reason to keep any specific sort of secrets, if you will. And so that I would find a group like that of your peers. The other group is where your customers are. Can you find a group where your customers might be that is where information is. And I can think of several examples. There's people are interested in a lot of our careers, especially like I said, the professional services, so financial planning and real estate and insurance and some of that stuff. Some people are, they're interested in that kind of thing. But you could find a local community group that is interested. Maybe they're doing yard sales or something, or just community events. And you could plug in that way. So that'd be another place for you to share content, though. But you just have to be a little bit more careful about it. You'd have to be, in particular, you'd have to actually add value, like we talked about before. But in addition to Facebook groups, there's something called LinkedIn groups. And the same exact thing applies. Now, LinkedIn groups are a little harder to find, and as far as finding groups that are not spammy, whereas Facebook, they can be really hard on you, or they can be really useless to you as far as if they're spammy. Or if you accidentally spam someone, you can get banned from a Facebook group. LinkedIn, it's harder to find groups that are actually active. But when you do find those groups, they can be a really great source of networking, a great source of finding new readers. And one of the neat ways to do that is to look at other people's. So look at your network, look at people that you want to be, in particular, like if you want to grow your relationship with them. One of the areas to do that is to see what kind of groups they're in. And so you can scroll down to the bottom of someone's profile and see what kind of groups they're in. And sort of a pro tip here, a little LinkedIn hack, if you will, is, and I don't know if they've changed this because I haven't looked at it, in a month or so, but they might have changed it recently. But if you go and join a group, then you actually have a little bit easier access to add someone to your network. So what you could do is say, I want to be in relationship with, say, CEOs of a certain demographic or certain area, or marketing managers or digital marketing people, or whoever. And you find those people and look what groups they're in, and then just join those groups. Again, you'd have to add value. You still have to be a real person. This isn't a hack that's going to work for a robot, but it's going to work for someone who's very intentional about their networking and also is ready to bring some value. So the next place to share that is Pinterest. Now, this may sound like a hit list of our episodes, but in some cases it is. I didn't intend for it to be this way, but this is another place for you to share some content. And what's great about Pinterest and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn is that for the most part, you could you really could just write a blog post and then just click all those little share buttons if you've got them on your website, to where you could share them to all these different places without having to do a lot of extra work. And I think there's even a lot of these plugins, if you have a WordPress site in particular, even have Medium as an option. So you could literally do that on all of these. Pinterest, you're going to get traffic. Now, the volume of traffic you get will directly depend on how visual your article is, and how it speaks to the demographic that's on Pinterest. Pinterest is used by both men and women, but predominantly women, and so your content. So, for instance, on our Facebook page, on our Facebook post 2 weeks ago, I made an infographic, and so that one's going to get me more traffic on Pinterest, for instance, than say some of my other posts where I only did a sort of a feature image and it didn't really do anything to sort of optimize it for Pinterest. So if you really, really want to nail it on Pinterest, you need to go back and listen to that episode about what's important to Pinterest as far as what's going to rank, but as another place to share your content, it's definitely worth getting the few bits of traffic that you're going to get from that, from just sort of sharing that. And while you're there, go ahead and share, get that image from your post or your content, and then go ahead and share on Instagram. Same thing applies to this as it would anything else. You can do a video tease for your content, or you could do just a post about your content. One of my favorite people, Dr. Rob McClelland, his podcast is amazing, by the way, Leader Tribe. If you love leadership, you should check that out. He's actually been on the show, one of my favorite shows, because I got to interview him, and I think he's pretty amazing. He's doing a really great job. I know that he's probably hired someone, but he's doing a really great job on promoting his content on Instagram in particular. And he does a daily podcast. And so you should check that out. So check out leadertribe.com. Look at Leader Tribe on Instagram and check that out. He's doing a great job, like I said, on Instagram in particular. And of course, Gary Vaynerchuk is another person on Instagram that you can look at for the content. We covered this in a previous episode, so I'm not going to go into depth with it. But again, the whole idea is that you create a piece of content and that you can share it on multiple places so you can get more mileage out of it. And so the last one is what the last episode that we covered last week, which is YouTube. And so YouTube, you might not think about posting content on there, especially if it's in written format, but you could do a review of the content. You could do a lot of different things with the content. I know a lot of real estate agents in particular, I like to use these examples. They could write about a neighborhood, one of their favorite neighborhoods, and then do like a 1-minute review of the neighborhood, 1-minute talk about the neighborhood. Another thing you could do is like what I'm doing with the podcast is you could record yourself and then use that as a written content. So then you've got this content piece where you've got the audio and the written content. Go get yourself an image, throw some words on there so that you've got this nice thumbnail for your YouTube video. Then reuse that on Pinterest, Instagram, and then everywhere else you post content. So that's really that if you really want to get humming on this thing and really get it going, you can create a piece of content that can go to all 11 of these places, and you might have to tweak how you pitch the content as far as getting people to read it, but as far as the content itself, you don't have to change it and come up with new summaries, come up with new stuff. But if you think about these places in sort of as a big picture, then it gives you a lot of places to sort of share content. But those are my top 11 places. Again, we've covered almost all of them. I think Medium and Reddit might be the ones that you've not heard of if you're sort of new to the internet, whatnot. But if you're new to the show, if you've been listening to the show, then those are the only two probably that I haven't mentioned a ton. But they're all great places to share content. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Ran through that, and it still took 20-something minutes for me to go through all of that. Hopefully, you got something out of this, and if you did, I would love it. Again, like I said, episode 50 for me, not counting episode 0, episode 50, it would be just such a great honor. Every time someone rates me or sends me an email, it just gives me sort of fuel for the fire. And really, a year into this, just to be honest, I kind of look at what I'm doing, going, okay, how am I going to create some new episodes? How am I going to bring value? How do I need to grow my following? What's another way I could monetize this? So I'm thinking about all these different things about the podcast. And every time I get an email or I see a new review, it just really makes me go, okay, well, I'm just going to keep doing it because I'm bringing enough value. And that's really my point. Like if I knew that doing this brings you value and I know that I'm never going to earn $1 from it, then to me, it's worth it. And if I can help you grow your business, then I would love to do that. Even if it means I'm not going to end up with the actual monetary business, I would still love to help you. So reach out if you can, Joshua@forwardmarketing.com. You can also hit me online at Jarvis Team on Twitter. That's the account I check the most. And I look forward to seeing you online. And tune in next week. We've got some interviews lined up for this fall. And so this pretty much is towards the end of the summer of growth hacking. And so we're going to get into some stuff in the fall that's going to kind of review some of the stuff that we've done in the past, see if it's really still up to date, because there's already been changes in the Google algorithm. And so stay tuned, some more digital marketing content, some more interviews, and of course, whatever it is that you send me as a request, we'll cover that as well. So thanks so much for listening, and make it a great day.